Welcome in to a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered live here by Go Chevrolet. Appreciate our friends as always. Go Chevrolet, G-E-A-U-X, Chevrolet.com is where you can find them online if you're looking for brand new cars. Stop in and see them in Laplace, Louisiana for used cars. Go Express Auto Sales right here in Baton Rouge. You can check them out, as always, on Florida Boulevard in Sherwood Forest. Daily, our water is provided by True Blue Water, TRUBluewater.com, TRUBluewater.com. Stop in and see him. Metropolitan Health Group brings you our phone lines every day. Shout out to Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey over there. Real doctors, real solutions over at Metropolitan Health Group. Today we will talk to LSU running back John Emery. Will be through here at 8:30 this morning. That'll be compliments of our friends over at Crowd Push. Remember, the fan experience has the opportunity to help in name, image, and likeness. You can help in any type of team, any type of individual. You can do that through Crowd Push. Learn more at crowdpush.com. John Emery will be here at 8:30 this morning talking LSU spring football, off-season, and then Emery going into his senior year and really his money year here. What's Frank Wilson meant to John Emery at that running back spot. We'll talk to him coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Also, some recruiting news for LSU football. It's been a hot couple of days for LSU as they scooped up Trey Holly, as we said yesterday, the state's top running back, statistically on target to really mash the records that Nick Brissett set in the state of Louisiana. And yesterday they go out to Long Beach, California, and pick up a 4-star defensive back in Daylen Austin, who visited Baton Rouge back in mid-April, committed on the trip and went public with it yesterday. Talked about, obviously, the relationship with some of the coaches like Robert Steeples, Brian Kelly, but also the reputation of DBU. We'll talk about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. Stewie is here as our producer this morning. Lloyd is still out. Noah is in. The Carpool Queen will be here at some point this morning after she navigates through Baton Rouge traffic. Jamil is here also on this Tuesday morning. NBA playoffs starts tonight. NBA lottery will be set tonight. We'll talk to you about the odds that the New Orleans Pelicans have to get into the top 10. Looks pretty good to get into the top 10, potentially. Could make their way into a top 4 pick tonight with the ownership of the Los Angeles Lakers pick that they scooped up, still dating back to that Anthony Davis trade that has been so wealthy for the New Orleans Pelicans. We'll talk all about that coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Exciting news here this morning. We are live on Twitter. If you are surfing through Twitter and that is one of your spots that you search and hit on social media every morning, now you can watch the Jordy Culotta Show live on that social media platform. So right now we're up on YouTube. We're over on Twitter. So if you're looking for us, of course, you can find us at a couple of social media spots. And this morning we're adding Twitter into the arsenal. We're looking forward to interacting and meeting some new people, hopefully, through that platform. If you hadn't seen us and you're just watching and catching us for the first time, welcome aboard. We appreciate that for finding us. Hunter Fournette, what happened with yesterday's show? Never got a notification or saw a live show. Yeah, we were we went on vacation over the weekend. We were originally going to take Monday morning off. But with so much news that was happening over the weekend, like Tyrann Mathieu and Jarvis Landry, not Tyrann Mathieu, but Jarvis Landry inking with the New Orleans Saints on Friday. Adam Miller coming back to the LSU basketball team. LSU baseball getting swept over the weekend by Ole Miss. Game 7s in the NBA where Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks blew out the number 1 seed, Chris Paul and the Phoenix Suns. Boston moving on to the Eastern Conference Finals. There was just so much news. Trey Holly committing to LSU over the weekend, the state's top running back. We just wanted to get some stuff on the record, so we went live yesterday at about 8:30 on Monday morning. Went for about an hour and a half, and it was kind of just a little impromptu show. So if you missed it, it's still over on the YouTube page for you, so you can catch that. It's archived there. Make sure you hit the like button, share button, comment button if you don't mind. And as we said, we're live on Twitter this morning too. I know a lot of people sometime when I'm out and about and talking to them about how how they get to us, and they talk about YouTube and some of the complaints and some of the pains that you have as a listener that you can't minimize and listen. I believe you can do that on Twitter's platform, where if you're listening to program, you should be able to keep it going. Check it out. Give us some feedback. We appreciate you being out there. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. Big news for LSU football yesterday. As we said, this was something that obviously the coaching staff had known about, so they had Daylen Austin on their board and checked off as a commit. But as Austin told 247 and the rest of the recruiting world yesterday, he was he was over at LSU, down at LSU back in April, and pledged his commitment then. This was right before the spring game, obviously. That was a huge weekend for LSU, having a couple of the superstars in town like Tyrann Mathieu, who was down on campus, and obviously that meant a ton to the defensive back room in recruiting. But Daylen Austin is a big DB from out west, from Long Beach, Cali, Long Beach Poly out in California. A guy that runs track, plays football, but talked about that, look, DBU. He said his goal is to play in the NFL, and they get more defensive backs drafted than any other school. We've seen that graphic that's come out over the last couple of weeks with the NFL draft, obviously being front and center. LSU has put more DBs over the last 10 years into the league than anybody. They got one more drafted than Alabama. I believe it's 16-15, with Stingley being the latest to go off the board for LSU with the third overall pick to the Houston Texans. Look, that means something to a guy like Daylen Austin, right, who's out west and considered a top 150 prospect in the country. He's being recruited by schools like Michigan and Penn State, and obviously all of the California schools, all the Pac-12 schools. But Brian Kelly and Notre Dame were in on him when they were back at South Bend. In fact, Austin told 247 yesterday that Coach Kelly is real cool. I talked to him a few times at Notre Dame, so I knew him before he got to LSU, but he's a great coach and a proven winner. For him to leave Notre Dame to come to LSU, that shows what a special program LSU is. If he can have all that success at Notre Dame, he can win even bigger at LSU. He talked about the trip down to Baton Rouge, saying that it was a business trip for him. He didn't want to go to the spring game because he knew that there would be a ton of recruits there. He wanted to spend as much time as he could with the coaches. That's why he came in a few days prior to the spring game. He watched practice and got some one-on-one time with the coaches that looked like it paid off for LSU. And Daylen Austin is the latest to commit to the LSU class. And we've seen this class now really extend its recruiting reach, right, with Mac Markway being up at St. Louis. They've got a pair of safeties that are committed, one being from Atlanta, one being from Texas, and now we see Daylen Austin commit from Long Beach Poly out in California, and LSU really extending their reach. I love to see the brand traveling, right? And look, when you can pick up a top 150 prospect, it doesn't matter if he's from New Orleans or if he's from Long Beach. A top 150 prospect is someone that you anticipate can make an early impact on your roster. One of the things that look, man, I'm not trying to give any guidance. I'm just giving my opinion on how I feel about it, because Brian Kelly, Frank Wilson, Brian Polian, the recruiting staff for LSU obviously have a plan in place, and they are executing that plan on how they see it best fit to win games at LSU. For someone like us, and maybe it's something that we all need to break of our mindset, but to me, I've always seen LSU football be most successful when predominantly owning and winning the state, right? And look, it is a great pickup to grab Daylen Austin. It was a reach to go out to Atlanta and grab Michael Daugherty from Atlanta. But when you look at Louisiana's defensive backs, I would love to make sure that they are putting their best foot forward with Derek Williams, the safety out of Westgate, out of Southwest Louisiana. I would hope that they can make some inroads with Jordan Matthews, the cornerback at Woodlawn, where you hear LSU is not really a player in his recruitment. Matthews is a 5-star at Woodlawn in Baton Rouge. Curly Reed is a cornerback out of Lake Charles. Goes to Lake Charles Lake Charles Preparatory, where Trevante Citizen was at last season. Curly Reed's a 6'2", 190-pound cornerback, considered to be one of the top in his position in the country. I would much rather see those guys at the top of the board and at least making runs at them. The more players that they get at a certain position, and I know that there is a big need at defensive back, and there's going to be a big turnover after this year, and in the next 2 years they're going to need numbers. So they got to go get players, and they got to get people in just to make sure that they can fill out the depth chart. But, I mean, how many times have we seen out-of-state guys, particularly guys come from places like California, where the recruiting visit is great. The food is wonderful. The social life is awesome. The campus is cool. The football stuff is great. And then they come back down in August, or they come back down in June when it's 100 degrees, the humidity's at 100%. It's miserably hot to somebody who cannot or is not familiar with it. And now you're banking and hoping that you can hang on to somebody when they're really uncomfortable and they're out of their comfort zone. Now, look, there's success stories of people that have made it, but I remember what was a wide receiver's name that came in 2003. Saban brought him in here. Was it Lavelle Hawkins that ended up back at Cal? He came here for 2 or 3 days in training camp. He made it all summer, 2 or 3 training camp days, and packed up when it was back out in California. When he got there, he said, I just can't take the heat, man. The weather is just so adverse to what I'm familiar with and growing up. Went on to have a pretty good career at Cal, and I think he played a couple of years in the league. My only concern of extending this reach out and going to get players, like we talked about, I saw where a big defensive end tweeted out that his top 7 was, his top 7 schools, Auburn and LSU were the only two SEC schools in the mix. Hunter Clegg tweeted out last week. Utah, USC, BYU, Baylor, Stanford, Auburn, and LSU are his final 7. I'm not. Those guys up there at LSU football have forgotten more ball than I'll ever know. They know how to evaluate the recruits. They know what they're looking for. They know how to build programs. From our vantage point, haven't we seen LSU really have a lot of success when the nucleus and majority of their team were Louisiana kids, Louisiana players? And I'm just, in this strategy, to me, I think that it's a little bit of a gamble to bet on a California kid when, hell, man, you got Jordan Matthews in Baton Rouge. He's a 5-star kid that everybody's beating down the door for. I don't understand why you wouldn't put a lot of resources and time in trying to land him. I know that they have recruited him. I know that they have made the relationship. But from the people that I spoke with on the player side, look, there's a lot of ground that needs to be made up from LSU's standpoint. They're not out of it, but they're not in it. And hey, look, man, Daylen Austin looks like a phenomenal prospect, top 150 prospect. He looks like he'll make an instant impact. I just hope he can get through the the barrier of South Louisiana, LSU, breaking through to the culture, the environment, and maybe that's what Brian Kelly is changing up. But even when I think things were becoming critical for Les Miles and Ed Ogeron, there was a piece to that they were kind of getting away from recruiting Louisiana kids. I mean, even Ogeron for a minute was going and extending further out than Louisiana for some of these top recruits. Derek Davis, the safety from Pennsylvania. But Davis has made it, and now he seems like he's going to help. So, look, there's a lot of ways to skin the cat in recruiting. There's a lot of ways to build a roster in college football. And the way of that I am, pitching may not be what Brian Kelly, the staff, see as the best way to build their program. And they, like I said, have seen a ton more football and evaluated a ton more than I have. And I hear you out there. AJ Puro says, patience, Jordy. Donnie T says, take the wait and see an approach. Look, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And Brandon Hollingsworth points out that he's the number 19 corner on 247, number 15 on 3. I agree. I'm not by any means banging on Daylen Austin. I see that he's a top 150 recruit. He's at a position that LSU must have. His vitals are, very impressive. A big kid, long kid. His track highlights are very impressive. He can move for how big and just how big of a prospect he is. Betting on the California kid to make it in Louisiana has not always worked out for LSU. I hope in this instance with Brian Kelly, he can really build that culture where it's open and comfortable for kids that are coming in from out of the state. I still think there needs to be a premium on getting guys like Jordan Matthews, on getting guys like Derek Williams, on getting guys like Curly Reed. There's still something to be said about building the locker room with a Louisiana kid. And look, it's not just because he's from Louisiana. I think when you talk to college football coaches, and we've had the opportunity to speak to college coaches that whether they come through here or whether they're coming through Baton Rouge and recruiting, that Louisiana kids, particularly South Louisiana prospects, are just built different. They got a different mentality to them. They're pissed off all the time. They're steadily trying to prove themselves. They steadily want the competition. Those stories that Tyrann Mathieu was telling about his days at the Tennessee camp where he was just going every rep. It got to a point where it just became Tyrann and Jarvis going at each other at a Tennessee camp, and Frank Wilson was looking around telling the coaches, like, what, they're Louisiana kids. One of them 6 foot, the other one's 5'9", and they're both going to be $100 million NFL players, maybe Hall of Famers. And a lot of that's built on the mentality of they've been told their whole life, you can't do it. So, look, man, I am playing the patient game. I am on the wait and see. But as you sit and watch, Stewie, kill that microphone while you type. But as you sit and watch, there is a little bit of PTSD when you see the recruiting arm going so far away from Louisiana to build LSU's roster. When I get when you have to go get Ethan Posick, when you got to go get Garrett Dellinger in Middle America because you just don't have offensive linemen. I understand when you take the national approach when the Louisiana talent's not here. And I'm all for going to get Darty and Austin in the defensive backfield class, but I'd feel much better about it if you had Matthews and Williams and Curly Reed along with them too. And look, it's far from over. By no means is this recruiting season over and done with. And I'm not raining down on what LSU's doing. They're having a lot of success right now, and that they're having some people come in. Trey Holly, Louisiana running back, must get, in my opinion. Love to see that he's staying home. That's the type of example that I'm talking about. Build the roster with those types. You need a running back? Go get the best running back in the state of Louisiana. You need a defensive back? Make sure you get the top DB in the state of Louisiana. Make sure Derek Williams and Jordan Matthews are in. Curly Reed are in. So, Jimmy Magoo, you're overreacting. Look, I don't want to say that it's. I'm not saying that it's dire because it's happening. So I'm not overreacting to it. I'm just saying that we're seeing the change in strategy right here in front of our face. We're witnessing it right now. It's happening, and that's just my opinion of it. I think it's tough to look up and see Derek Williams making plays at Georgia. It's tough to look up and see Jordan Matthews starting for Texas A&M in 2 years when you have a true need for defensive back right now. So it'll be good. I mean, it'll be interesting to see how this class shakes out. It'll be interesting to see how LSU closes. One thing that's for sure, Robert Steeples, defensive backs coach, is doing work. That guy has done an incredible job of building relationships and really making an impact from LSU's standpoint on recruits, because everybody that talks about being recruited by LSU either mentions the name Jordan Arcement or Robert Steeples. And it doesn't matter what position, it doesn't matter what where they're from. These guys seem to be kind of the front line of relationship builders as far as LSU football is concerned. And this is a defensive back getting Daylen Austin, and Robert Steeples was all over this. I mean, Steeples' name is all over the quotes from Austin talking about why and when he committed to LSU. So if nothing else, if one thing is for sure in watching this season play out for LSU football, they've got some really good relationship builders and recruiters on staff. You know what you got in Frank Wilson. Cortez Hankton seems to be the same type of guy. Brad Davis has done a lot of good things in recruiting in a short time on staff. And then you hear about what Jamar Cain has been able to do on the recruiting trail. Robert Steeples is a name, like I said, we continually hear from. Matt House is a name that I've heard a lot on the recruiting trail, especially when it's time to talk strategy and what and how prospects are going to be used at LSU. House is really good in that environment, it sounds like. So it sounds like this staff, from LSU's point of view, is a combination of really good recruiters and relationship builders, but also understand the game and have made it very clear where these guys and what the expectations of these incoming guys are going to be. It'll be interesting to see how they play out. Justin James, especially after a year when you lost Jacoby Matthews and Alsbury, can't lose the top Louisiana DBs 2 years in a row. And look, you could even throw Jaden Alsbury in as kind of a hybrid of what he's going to be in the next level. I mean, I think there is some conversation that he could play strong safety. You could almost like use him like Jamal Adams or Tyrann Mathieu, where you could play him in the box, or you could drop him back in coverage. He's a very versatile, very fluid athlete. And, I've seen a lot of boards where Arch Manning's the number one player in the state. Shelton Sampson Jr. over at Catholic High is the number 2 player in the state. And then Jaden Alsbury is the number 3 player in the state. I've seen Alsbury and Derek Williams both flip-flop in that spot. You're not getting Arch. I think we all agree right right? Like, I don't think Arch is going to end up at LSU. I think they sit in a really good spot with Shelton Sampson. I think that, Shelton Sampson it's going to come down to the wire between Texas A&M, Alabama, and LSU. Derek Williams is next on that list. Jaden Alsbury's next on that list. You got to get those guys. I mean, if not just for the optics, you can't miss on the top 5 prospects in Louisiana. And I know that Frank Wilson is inside of that building beating the hand down on the desk, letting people know that maybe from the outside of the area. I don't know that for a fact, but I just got to imagine that is happening because of the success that he's had in building this LSU roster with Louisiana kids. And I'm all about getting Mac Markway out of St. Louis, a big tight end that seems like he's going to make an impact. I'm all about going to get Daylen Austin, a top 150 prospect and a 4-star cornerback out of Long Beach Poly. A really reputable high school. But I'm still on board where you got to get Derek Williams, Jordan Matthews, and Curly Reed. You got to get these Louisiana prospects. Robert Miller, Jordy, do you think Frank is going to let any Louisiana kids that can play get away? I do not. But it was concerning for me to see 2 weeks ago Frank Wilson spending days in Georgia and seeing other parts of the staff recruiting New Orleans. Like, I know that Frank Wilson is a killer out on the recruiting trail and is an absolute menace in recruiting offices. But he can cause the most havoc for your opposition by recruiting Louisiana, and in particular, Louisiana. I've had a chance to spend a couple of days with Frank Wilson in New Orleans. Like, he was on a speaking tour, on the Tiger Tour, and we were doing a radio show from it and kind of like introducing the panel. And they were 2 days in New Orleans, and you walk around New Orleans with Frank Wilson, and you might as well be with royalty. You don't pay for a meal. You don't wait for a seat. You don't not talk to anybody in power. Everybody wants to talk to him. Nobody's letting him pay for a meal. Everybody's rolling out the red carpet when Frank's in town. And that's because they all consider him to be like kind of a son. He's like the son of the city. Very proud of him. He is a kind of a knight in shining armor. You know what I mean? For Louisiana high school coach, New Orleans city coaches, the Catholic. A lot of those guys, Frank Wilson is a mentor, a big brother. So for him to be outside of that recruiting area, and maybe that was just to go visit a prospect. I don't want to jump to conclusions. But in the middle of recruiting season, that guy's got to be camped out in Louisiana, right? Just because that's where he's going to do the most damage. Jared Hills, give it time to develop. I am. I'm not piling on. I'm not piling on. I'm not saying. I'm not saying that it's not going to work. I'm not by any means, because it hasn't been working. So there obviously needs to be a change. And in the way that you're recruiting, obviously could be one of the ways that stands out in the change. But I still believe you got to get the Louisiana kids, man. They're too vital to not only what happens on the field, but like the locker room, the mentality, just the mindset that a Louisiana kid brings. That's why everybody in the country wants Louisiana kids in their locker room. Ask Mickey Joseph what he's looking for in Nebraska. They want that dog. They want that killer. And it's tough to find that outside of Louisiana. They exist. They're out there. But by the numbers per capita, Louisiana's got a lot of them.
Steeples, Frank Wilson, and Cortez Hankton were at Woodlawn Spring Game last week. So
it's good to see. It's great to hear.
Yeah.
Will Joseph, Jordy, LSU had 3 members at Woodlawn Spring Game for Jordan Matthews, and Mickey was there per Jacques. That's great news, says Will Joseph. Hughes Bowden, Jordy, have you seen what Kelly has done in the transfer portal? He obviously understands the importance of Louisiana. Great point. You're right. Hayden Paris, LSU lost the top Louisiana DBs and the top wide receivers in last year's cycle. That cannot be that can't be consistent. They got to change that. John Quab, I agree you can't miss out on those guys, but what's worse is missing out on those guys and not having anyone to replace them with. If you can replace them with guys like Austin and Gray. Now, I agree with that. You've got to be planning, and maybe they know some things behind the scenes that obviously we don't know. Maybe they know they sit in a position with those guys where they need some insurance. They need to go make sure that they have not backup plans, but just guys that they can get commitments from. I'd imagine that Jordan Matthews, Curly Reed, and Derek Williams are on the top of LSU's board. It just seems like right now they may not be ready to commit, or they're just going through the process, and LSU has to, they got to take care of their needs, right? Donnie T says, what's up with Eli Holstein? I saw that Holstein was in town, or I say in town, he lives in town, but he was on LSU's campus last weekend going through the facility. He made comments about how the last time he had shown up, it was the old facilities, to give you an idea of how long it's been since Eli Holstein was on campus. He was committed to Texas A&M for over a year and a half. He just decommitted a couple of weeks ago. Through that process, he was kind of out of touch with LSU. Now, Joe Sloan, Mike Denbrock, Brian Kelly, the offensive staff have really, turned up the heat and picked up the communication back on Holstein, and it was great to see him back on campus last weekend, at least just open to LSU. You know what I mean? Like, just come visit, talk, sit, hang out, start to build a relationship with this staff. Joe Sloan's a great recruiter, too. I've heard really great things about Sloan on the trail. Will Joseph, how do we know LSU isn't recruiting Matthews? I didn't say they aren't recruiting Matthews. I've said that they've got ground to make up on Matthews, and I've talked to people that are in and around Matthews' recruitment. We've got good relationships with the Woodlawn coaching staff. We've got great relationships with his 7-on-7 coach in the summer. We know people who are around Matthews recruiting, and right now LSU's behind. They're in it, but Texas A&M's in the lead. Georgia's making a real big push at him. Alabama's right there. LSU's in it, but they got ground to make up. I know that for a fact. Hayden Paris, LOL, I hope Daylen Austin doesn't catch any of this segment. If he does, Daylen, bro, we've seen your film. You are a playa. It is no denying that you are a top 150 prospect in high school football, and LSU is lucky to get your commitment. I'm just saying that's a long way from home. Hopefully he can make it. Hopefully he can stick through. The climate, the humidity, everything we've seen kind of due to out-of-state athletes. I don't know Daylen Austin. But I've seen him play. Cat can play, man. He'll play anywhere. But I'm just saying from LSU's standpoint. That's it. Seville Jr., I thought Hankins is a killer as well. I've heard the same. I've heard that Cortez Hankton is a great recruiter. Hunter Fournette, wonder why it's those three. It's almost like an external source of encouragement, a.k.a. money. I don't know what you mean. I'm just talking about the top three defensive back prospects in the state of Louisiana is all I'm mentioning. Seville Jr., Ed Paris was a 4-star, top 5 at his position, just saying. And some guys don't pan out. They don't all pan out. But if you play the numbers, they usually hit. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by GoFlow IV, Geaux, flowiv.com. GoFlowIV.com is where you can find them online, Geaux, flowiv.com. Mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Get a discount there. Got a promo code for you. Save 15% on your initial visit over there at GoFlow. Located on Jefferson Highway, Baton Rouge's premier medical spa specializing in IV hydration with vitamin infusion. Memberships available, whether you want a 3-month, 6-month, annual membership. Remember, you can find it online at goflowiv.com, Geaux, flowiv.com. If you're looking for a little boost of energy here after the weekend, if you've been under the weather and you need some help to get over your sickness, let GoFlow help. Geaux, flowiv.com, goflowiv.com. Either way, LSU is cleaning up and recruiting right now, and it seems like their message is hitting, whether it be with Trey Holly, whether it be with Daylen Austin, whether it would be with the guys on social media. If you're just paying attention to what's going on social media, or you following some of these recruiting analysts, Billy, Shea, Sammy Speegs, any of these people that are following recruit on a daily, on a daily grind, you see that LSU is doing work. in front of a lot of kids' faces right now. They have a lot of people and prospects talking about what they got going on. A lot of these commitments that are happening are really kind of starting to kick up a lot of love between some of the other recruits and what's going on. It just seems like LSU is super active and really making a mark all over the country, whether it be these commitments or just people buzzing about what's happening in Baton Rouge with Brian Kelly. So it's great to see. Put it on the poll. Put it on the poll question. Southern Eye Center poll question of our first hour. You a fan of LSU extending their reach? You still want Louisiana first? I'm trying to think of the best way to put it and word it, Stewie. But poll question should be: what's your reaction to seeing Brian Kelly extend the national reach of recruiting? You still want Louisiana first? Yes or no? I mean, I don't, like I said, I think there's a couple of ways to skin the cat in recruiting, and there's a couple of ways to build a very competitive roster within college football. I think overwhelmingly, when you look at the ways that LSU has had the most success, 2003, 2007, 2011, 2019, the majority of those classes, the majority of those rosters, the majority of that team, those teams, look at them. All Louisiana guys, man. Not all of them, but the majority of them. Louisiana guys, the heart and soul, the nucleus of your group. The Glenn Dorseys, the Jacob Hesters, the Marcus Spears, the Michael Claytons, the Tyrann Matthews, the Morris Claibornes, the Reuben Randalls, the Will Blackwells, the Patrick Queens, the Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Jamar Chases, the Justin Jeffersons. You get the theme, right? You still got to get out and recruit at a national level right now. And LSU's doing a tremendous job of that right now. Remember, we're live on Twitter, which is cool for us. A nice little change to the show. If you're watching, we're there on Twitter, a new spot for you to catch up with us. And tonight we will be on with the Players Lounge. Peter Burns, our good friend, another Louisiana native, South Louisiana native from Port Allen, over on the SEC network. I'll be sitting in with him and Aaron Murray, former Georgia quarterback, and we'll be talking SEC football. And that'll be on Twitter Spaces on the Players Lounge. We've got it all over our social media. We've been promoting it tonight at 7:30. We'll be there for about 25, 30 minutes just talking recruiting, talking spring football, talking off season, talking some of what's happening down here in Baton Rouge. So if you have the time, if you can remember, if you feel like you want to join but you might not be able to remember, just set an alert for it. We'll be back. We'll be over there at 7:30 tonight talking some SEC football with Peter Burns, obviously, who is a host and a talking head on the SEC network. Aaron Murray, who does the same, has a very good radio show. Former Georgia quarterback, former quarterback for the Dogs, and now talking SEC football, and we'll be there tonight kind of highlighting LSU. Looking forward to it, so if you can remember, check in with us at 7:30 this morning. About an hour from now, or a little under than an hour from now, we'll get back to LSU football conversation as John Emery, Tiger running back, is going to make his way through the studio. Really looking forward to our conversation with Emery coming up, man. I feel like people have asked me. I've been on some radio shows over the past couple of weeks since spring football is wrapped down here in Baton Rouge, and a lot of people have asked about, a name to watch out for and somebody who could be a breakout player and, who's somebody that we may not be talking about that people are going to be remembering and talking about through the season. And I say 10 out of 10 times it's been John Emery for me. And look, I've done some local shows and people have said, well, that's not too creative of an answer. But I've done some shows outside of the listening area where people are like, wow, okay, John Emery. I didn't even know that he was back. I didn't even know that he was still on the roster. Some people don't even know who he is. And, from Emery's standpoint, I think that you've seen flashes, right? You've seen so many flashes in just a couple of games of who he could be. That Auburn touchdown run, that Vanderbilt game that he had. You know, I mean, we've just seen him in the screen game make a couple of plays. I mean, I still see him the opening game of the 2019 season in North Texas or Georgia Southern. Yeah, I mean, they throw him a little screen route. He makes a move. He almost scores. But then I also remember in 2019 when Joe Burrow against Florida, Emery is in the game and he misses a pass protection, and the ESPN cameras catch Burrow saying, "Get this guy bleeping out of here." And after that, we never saw Emery again. I mean, we never saw him one more time in the 2019 season. And, you know, since then, it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a very up and down time for Emery at LSU. It feels like it's kind of all lined up and all right for him now. I think you saw the glimpses of it before he was beat up a little bit at the end of spring. And I thought it was a really good sign to see him play in the spring game, even the health concerns that he was dealing with. I think that shows his commitment level. We'll talk to him about all of that coming up here at 8:30 this morning. If you have a question specifically for Emery and you want to get it in, jump inside of our chat app on YouTube. Jump inside of what we got going on Twitter and get your questions or get your comments there, and we'll get them asked and answered. Really looking forward to talking to John Emery coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Also looking forward to some NBA news tonight. Not only is the playoffs starting, playoffs will be cranking up, both Western Conference Finals with Golden State and Dallas. But on the Eastern side, Miami and Boston are going to tip it off, both with obviously shots on the line for the NBA Finals. But I think everybody's going to be paying a lot of attention, specifically down here in Pelicans country, of what's going to happen with the NBA lottery. We'll find out tonight the results and where the Pelicans could potentially be choosing in the NBA draft coming up in June. You'll find out the lottery tonight, as that will be announced at halftime of Game 1. Right now, the Rockets, Magic, Pistons, and Thunder have the highest lottery odds going into the season. The Pelicans will receive the Lakers pick, right? And there is a chance that they might have to give the pick up if the lottery lands the Lakers at number 11 or number 12. That pick will go to Memphis, dating back to the Steven Adams trade between Memphis and New Orleans. But right now, the Pelicans have a 99% chance that pick is going to end up in the top 10. That they'll have a top. The best chase. It seems like the best scenario, or at least from a statistical standpoint, a number standpoint, has the Pelicans going in at the 8th pick. Seems like that's going to be where they land. It could get as high as 4. And if it gets as high as 4, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, 4...
Four, they might be a championship contender.
Right. It can land anywhere in the top 4. They can't get 5 through 7, so if they don't get 1 through 4, they get pick 8 or below. But if you can get up to 4 or higher, and you can pull the trigger on Jaden Ivey, which the guard position is the position the Pelicans are looking for, especially like a point guard spot, and Jaden Ivey is without a doubt the best player at that position. And some people think he's the best player in the draft, just because of what we've seen with John Morant. Ivey's kind of a similar player. But so if they can get up to 4 and pull the trigger on Jaden Ivey, that would be amazing. But really just being able to have a successful season and still have, a top 10 pick to be able to add to that young core, especially with Zion returning. I mean, it's huge.
It'd be great, man. Look, this is the night I can remember when Zion was hit, the NBA draft lottery produced the number 1 pick for the Pelicans. That was such a shock for New Orleans to get that ping pong ball. I don't even know if they do the ping pong balls anymore.
I don't know if they do now.
Yeah, I know. But it was such a shock for Zion to be named, I say Zion, but just for the Pelicans to get the number 1 pick when Zion was coming out. If they were able to get a top 4 pick with what they have right now inside the locker room and the year that they just had with the momentum that they're riding with Willie Green, man, it could be fun to see where they go with a top 4 pick. Usually, NBA draft picks, the intrigue kind of falls off after the top 3 or 4.
Right.
Rarely do you see anybody outside of that, or at least be ready for somebody that if you're following the draft on where they may go. So it'll be interesting to see where that lands tonight. And then, like we said, NBA playoff action gets going with game ones originating from San Francisco. And who's got the is it Miami with the home court advantage on the eastern side?
Yeah, Miami's the
so it'll be
seed.
game one from Miami between Boston and the Heat, and then game one out in San Francisco between Golden State and Dallas. Let's see if Luka can't do it a couple of times in a row here, because the Luka mania that has started since he went in there and cut up Phoenix in Game 7 like he did. I didn't know the personal rivalry between him and Devin Booker existed like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of got ramped up in that series. I don't think there was really ever anything too serious before then, but just Devin kind of, took some jabs at him, kind of poked the ball out that one time, made a comment when he fell on the ground, and Luka just kind of said, I'm gonna let my actions speak louder and win the series.
Back to the recruiting discussion here from some of our chat guys that are some of the people that are inside of the chat asking questions. Jerry Rivera says, Jordy, Louisiana recruits are playing the money game just like they did last year. So take the ones who want to be a Tiger no matter where they are from. At some point, the money's going to be a discussion for everyone, Jerry, for sure. And I know that, there are some Louisiana kids that are playing the money game, but at some point, that conversation is going to run out. And I do believe that it's easy to play hardball at the beginning of these recruiting conversations, but a lot of these recruits are going to find out when it comes down to really kind of, the time to look. I think that the Wild Wild West days are coming to an end in NIL. I mean, I think at some point over the next year or two, there is going to be some type of structure put in place, whether it is from the NCAA, which I don't believe is going to happen, or it's internally from people like Greg Sankey and commissioners that just start to police it on its own, because it's become such a rampant. I mean, the coaches are, they're bitching to high hell about NIL, just about able to retain a roster. There has to be some type of period put in place. There has to be some rule against. Look, I think tampering has been happening for a long time in college football. I think now it just becomes more evident with the transfer rule and the option to give and pay players money. So there's going to have to be some type of governance over that. And when you can't go put Texas A&M classes together where you've got $30 million collected in one bucket and just distribute it throughout 25 heads like Texas A&M has done, and really. They were just ready for the assignment. They knew the project. They aced it. They knew that there wasn't going to be rules put in place. They had the money and the capital to get it done, and they were able to put together a class that had, 6 5-stars? You got kids from South Beach paying attention to what's going on in College Station. Why do you think that's happening? But, look, you can't bang on them, but that style is not going to work into the future. I think that's what really the coaches are trying to cut out, which is why a place like Crowd Push coming up here with John Emery, that's who John Emery is representing this morning. Crowd Push, who gives an NIL platform to the fans. Kind of however you want to support, whatever you want to do to fundraise, you can do that, whether it be on a team or individual. So, it's something that if the governance does come down on NIL, this would be something that would be able to, be from a compliance standpoint, this would pass through. So it's interesting times, and it's interesting to see how the next year or two shakes out for college football, but I don't believe that you're going to be able to just collectively put millions of dollars into a bucket and go spread it out over 25 heads and just say, hey, we need you to, shoot out a tweet or an Instagram post, once every semester for us. That to me is what they're trying to cut out of the sport. And I think when you have people like Nick Saban and Kirby Smart and even Deion Sanders over the last couple of days has urged whoever is going to be in power, whoever is going to make these decisions, that they got to cut that stuff out. They got to get to what NIL was intended to be and intended to do. And it's way, way too much like free agency and pay for play now. And I think that they're going to try try to stop that. They're not going to take the money out of the game. They're not going to take the transferring out of the game, but they're going to put some type of restriction and regulation on top of it. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works, our friends over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. No social media for our guy Jude Barker and his crew over there. Just no website, just a phone number, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431. Experienced carpenters on staff and plumbers so they can help you with any industrial remodel that you may be looking for. They specialize in all works of plumbing, industrial, commercial, residential. Find them, as we said, by just dialing them up, 225-776-2431, 225-776-2431, 15% discount if you mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out. They're number one in a number two business. Number one in a number two business. Check out Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works right now by calling them this morning. As our guy, John Emery, just tweeted at us, just texted at us. Woke up with a flat tire. I'm asking him right now if we need to send somebody to go grab him, but he says he should be here through 8:30. So looking forward to talk to him. Give me a break. We'll be back with the top of the hour here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Southern Eye Centers, located at 6859 Jefferson Highway right here in Baton Rouge, has been serving your eyes for over 40 years in the capital region. They offer friendly service in a helpful environment with the highest level of personal care to manage your eye health and vision needs. If you want more information, log online to southerneyecenters.com. That is southerneyecenters.com. Stop in and check out their beautiful office located on Jefferson Highway right here in the capital city. And remember, each time you walk in there and you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, Dr. Ann Shaw and Southern Eye Centers will take 25% off of their fantastic selection of sunglasses. All you got to do is mention the Jordy Culotta Show. Check them out, southerneyecenters.com, and located at 6859 Jefferson Highway.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com. The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. We are live on Twitter and YouTube this morning. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, make sure and hit that subscription button. We're just about 400 away from 10,000. Big push over here over the Jordy Culotta Show. Appreciate you finding us, spending your mornings with us, as we will be back with you every Monday through Friday, 7 and 9 a.m. Compliments of our friends over at Go Chevrolet and so many others here who support us and bring us this live content every single morning. Hit that like button, share button, comment button. If you're watching on Twitter, hit that retweet and like if you don't mind. Put us in front of as many people as possible for us, and our sponsors have gotten a lot of good feedback from some of our sponsors, whether it was the Men's Total Health Clinic down in New Orleans, who we saw last week, of people that were calling in or visiting in to Men's Total Health. Obviously, our friends over at Relief Med have heard a ton from our listeners using the promo code Jordy1. We just told you about our promo code over at Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. If you're looking for a plumber, they got 2 trucks in East Baton Rouge Parish every single day. So get in touch with Barker Brothers Plumbing and Works. Tell them you heard it here on the show. They'll save you a discount on no matter what the service is from Jude Barker and his team over at Barker Brothers. Remember, no website, no social media, 225-776-2431. GoFlow IV has a promo code for you. If you mention on the Jordy Culotta Show, they'll save you 15%. So we appreciate you being out there, talking about us to our sponsors, using the sponsor services, and saying that you heard it here on the show. That really strengthens the bond and the relationship, that helps us out with what we're doing into the future, and really cannot express to you enough how much we appreciate that. For what we have going on over here and really growing this brand at FM Digital Media, and have some exciting stuff. We told you about our television partnership with WAFB. That's going to be in the work. That is finalized, and you should be starting to see some of our content starting to originate on WAFB's website and on their app. So if you do not have the WAFB app, make sure that you download that. Go check out their website at WAFB.com. And if we produce some cool, compelling content, maybe you see us on the news 1 or 2 nights coming up here. Maybe this John Emery interview coming up here at 8:30 this morning will produce something that grabs the news director's head and ears over there at WAFB, and they throw it on the news tonight. Who knows? It's great exposure for us. WAFB is a monster of a news service with their website, obviously, at WAFB.com, and their app, and they go into nearly 90,000 homes here in South Louisiana. So really excited about what could be and what is happening with FM Digital Media and WAFB. So a lot of that is because you're here every morning, and we appreciate that. So make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button. As we said, we will talk football with Emery coming up here in a couple of minutes. In fact, he's all good. He'll be heading here in about 3 minutes. So looking forward to that conversation. All right, we talked a little bit about the NBA draft lottery tonight. We talked NBA action that cranks up tonight. Obviously, LSU football recruiting with Daylen Austin becoming the latest commitment to what's going on. Man, did I get my ass roasted on that Drew Brees segment yesterday, man. I heard so much from it on the social media. I was at lunch down the street here on Government Street. Somebody walked up to me and kind of behind me, never saw him coming, said, "Why you got to hate on Drew Brees like that?" I was like, what? I said, man, look, just perspective. Like, I'm not hating on Drew Brees. I am very grateful for what Drew Brees gave to the city and gave to the New Orleans Saints franchise. But from my point of view, Drew Brees' time as a football player is over. And I think, look, man, everybody was talking about, you don't know how to take a joke. You didn't know he was talking. Look around. People are writing articles. People are wondering within the pro football community because of what we talked about. People don't know how to take Brees. Is he serious or is he not? He might be. If he is, these are the ramifications. Here's what the contract status is with the Saints. I mean, you learned a lot about that stuff yesterday because of the tweet that Brees sent out on Sunday. And people didn't know how to. Was he joking? Was he not? I think he was. I don't think he's coming back to play football. I mean, you saw him play the last 2 years. He could barely get the ball down the field. This is 2 years later and time being away from football. 45 years old in NFL football plus 40 is not supposed to work. Tom Brady is a outlier. And maybe it'll start to happen because of the progressions between, medical and science and all that stuff. Maybe we start to see the longevity and career of football players extended because of that. But up to this point, Tom Brady is a freak. It's freakish to see him producing at that level plus 40 like he is. And that doesn't happen to really anybody. I mean, Favre did it for a year or two, but then if you remember the fall for Favre, he fell off a cliff his last year in Minnesota. Yeah, he brought him to the NFC title game his first year in Minnesota, and he was great. He was probably the MVP of the league. The next year, he was tripping and falling on himself. So, I mean, I think that Brees is done with football. And I didn't mean that yesterday for to come across of saying, like, it just, you don't want a part of it. But just from the skill set standpoint, it was time to move on then. It would be way past time to move on now. From just the physical standpoint. But from the professional standpoint, I hope Drew Brees embraces whatever is next for him, because it's obviously behind closed doors. Somebody told him, hey man, you're not as good as we thought you were going to be. We threw you all this money because we wanted to corner somebody like Romo, somebody like Aikman. Now what Brady and Fox have done, NBC wanted to get into that game, and they kind of threw all of their stock into the Drew Brees wagon. And Brees, like we said yesterday, was good. He wasn't great. But with his type of work ethic and his knowledge of the game, I expect he could be. But to get to that point, Brees is going to have to take a route that he's not familiar with. I think that he's done it plenty of times in his life, getting into the league, getting his scholarship to Purdue, being the starter in Los Angeles, being the starter in San Diego, driving New Orleans to the success that they did over the 16 years that he was the quarterback. All of that stuff. I mean, he knows what it's like to be an underdog, or at least not expected to perform to the level that he usually does. I mean, he won a state title with his high school team, and he wasn't supposed to do that. The University of Texas overlooked him and didn't give him a scholarship. He was from Austin. In fact, they gave that scholarship to Major Applewhite, a quarterback out of Baton Rouge at Catholic High, who went on to become the Big 12 Player of the Year his junior season, and then was sniped for Chris Sims his senior year. But Drew Brees wanted that scholarship. He wanted to go to Texas. He was from Austin. He was the local kid, wanted to play at UT, wanted to be a Longhorn. Didn't get the scholarship, ended up at Purdue. Set school records for Purdue, set Big Ten passing titles for that conference. I mean, has always overachieved everywhere he's been, right? Or at least from what you thought you were going to get. So, I mean, what Brees gave New Orleans is, it'll never be replicated, in my opinion. It'll never happen again. The relationship between city and athlete like New Orleans and Brees had was, and is, so strong. But from the football standpoint, I mean, don't we agree it's over? Right? I mean, I would take Jameis Winston coming off of an ACL injury over Drew Brees at 43, 2 years out of the league and coming off of wrist surgery. I'm taking Jameis. I think Jameis at that level gives you a better chance to win. But as far as watching the game and listening to the game, I'd love to hear Drew Brees, develop his chops and sharpen his skill on being able to talk about football at that level and listen to him really get better. I still think Troy Aikman gets better. I think Aikman has gotten better since, 3 years ago. He's been doing this for 20 years, Aikman has. It's crazy to think about. But, I mean, he's been doing it for almost, just a generation. And he's gotten better over the last couple of years. I mean, Tony Romo continues, I think, to get better. He knows now the level that he's at, and he's trying to refine and perfect that. I think Brees has got a long way to go to get there, but it's not out of the question that he can. And if he wants to go be the B team on Fox's squad and fill in for Greg Olsen and handle that, I would love and be so intrigued to watch him handle that, approach that with the mindset of, hey, just like I was as a player, I can get better as a commentator. Just like guys as coaches, like Dennis Allen, like we said yesterday. Dennis Allen told the story on Rich Eisen's show a week and a half ago, how he's so much better of a coach than when he took over for Oakland as a first-year guy. He didn't know anything. He didn't know the things that just go along with the trade that you had to learn on the job. And now for that, he's a better coach in this second go-around, now with the Saints. Same thing for Brees. I mean, you got a year of doing television and football. You called Notre Dame games to really cut your teeth. They threw you on a couple of NFL games. You even got a playoff game. There were some highs and there were some lows. I think he was a little pissed that NBC put it out before he did. You know, I mean, I think that he was... That was a little bit behind the tweet. But the fact of the matter is that Drew Brees is a very successful businessman, a very successful football player. I think he'll be a very successful broadcaster. It's just we're witnessing the early days of that. And it's not easy. I know people think that, hey man, it's just Drew Brees on TV talking football. Yeah, that part's easy. But then you have to be a personality. You got to have some entertainment value to you. You have to have a little personality in your approach on. You got to stand out a little bit. You know what I mean? And for some of those guys that have never had to go above and beyond as far as just their persona went, everybody just loved to be around Drew Brees. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't have to, over exemplify his personality to stand out. In this job, you need to do that a little bit. Yeah, and I'm not saying that's where he struggled. I'm just saying there's some things that you're not used to. You're out of your comfort zone from being a $20 million a year quarterback and respected by everybody in the league to stepping on the other side and having a talk about. I mean, now you got to be critical of Mike Thomas if he doesn't run his route. I mean, how many times have you heard Troy Aikman light up Amari Cooper or Dak? You know, I mean, like, that's probably an uncomfortable meeting room when Troy walks through the Dallas Cowboys facility on a Wednesday or Thursday and sees Dak or Amari Cooper, and, there's feedback that, hey, man, like, I heard what you said. Yeah, I got a job to do. I mean, that's... And for Aikman, when he was a player, he probably never saw the day where he was going to be critical of the players in the locker room. And your first year out for Brees, that's probably a hell of a curve to round, from player into broadcaster, that you gotta be real about what you see. I mean, some of these guys you're still on text chains with. But, I mean, if you really want to be great at this, at this job, you gotta be forthright. You gotta be honest. You gotta be direct. You got to say what you see. And if the uneducated football eye can see and you're not telling them that, you're going to lose credibility. You're going to lose the trust between you and the listener. And I think that's probably you have to really kind of mentally get there, especially your first year out of it. I mean, there's so many people that you're still so close, even the coaches. I mean, how many times have you heard Aikman or Romo talk about a coaching strategy or an offensive game plan or something that just didn't make any sense? I guarantee you when Romo criticizes Andy Reid, he hears about it from Andy Reid. So, I mean, that's a big fraternity. That's a big brotherhood. That's a big club of... football lifers, players, coaches, staffers, all of those people hang in one area. I think Brees will be great at anything he sets his mind to be great at. Look at his body of work. I mean, I saw that they opened up another small sliders yesterday in Thibodeau, and they had the line wrapped around the building. Everything this guy touches turns to gold, whether it's a football team or a hamburger joint. If he makes his mind up to be a broadcaster and he says, I want to be the best, who in the hell am I to say he ain't going to be the best? I believe he will be. I also think it's a little, it's good for Brees to be told, hey man, you're not perfect at this. It'll be good to see that personality of, all right, cool. You don't think I can? Watch me. And we've seen Brees in that mindset so many times have so much success. And, seen the best of him. And that's what I believe you'll get if he wants to climb this ladder of broadcasting, because he's not going to be on the A-team. He's not going to be on NBC Sunday nights, obviously, calling that NFL game, which I think they anticipated that they could make that transition and move with him into. He's going to have to, cut his teeth in Detroit on a Sunday at noon. He's going to have to be in Washington on Sundays at, 3 o'clock. He's going to have to be in New Orleans for a couple of games, calling and talking about the people that he really knows and has relationships with. There's going to be some parts of the job that you say, damn, I didn't realize it was going to be like this. I didn't know I'm going to wake up in Atlanta in a hotel room by myself on you don't have to, there's no team bus, there's no team meal, there's none of that organization that you're come to realize as a player. It's more, hey, you got your broadcast team and you need to be at the game 2 hours before kickoff. Your family's not there. You're eating hotel food. It's different. So, I'm not banging on Brees, man. I'm not a Brees obsessor. I'm not obsessed over the guy and think that he walks on water. I think there are some things about him that you say, all right, man. Come on. You don't have to get over there and look at the pictures every single time on the sideline. You're looking at a nuclear bomb. We get it, man. We know you're all in. And we love what you do for it. But, there's a lot of persona built up from Drew Brees to be Drew Brees. I think it was kind of good to see earlier this week that, he's human. He's a human being. He's not great at something that he just doesn't know anything about and just jumps into for a year. There's going to be a learning curve on it. The guy will probably master the learning curve and be one of the best to ever do it, but it's going to take a little time to get there. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Johnson and Spillers, our dentist, Johnson and Spillers, located 2 locations, Gonzales and in Baton Rouge. Check them out. Online, johnsonspillers.com. Dr. Spillers, great work, man. I'm continuing to get the compliments on the implant. Teeth look great, feel great, confident smile. Hadn't had one in years, man. Now, after my time over at Johnson and Spillers, it's awesome. If you need a tooth implant or you just need general dentistry, I actually talked to him a little bit the other day about some Botox. Might do a little Botox for the crow's feet that are coming in on the side here. Anything you need, go see Dr. Chad Spillers and the crew over at Johnson and Spillers. johnsonspillers.com. Am I off base on the Drew Brees?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Yeah, I don't think so. He's not coming back to football.
Yeah,
he can't throw a ball 10 yards.
Not
so the only other thing he could do is, work in TV and get better at being a TV announcer and a color analyst. And he can do that. He knows football. It's just him becoming more interesting and him becoming that personality that people want to see on TV.
William Ivy, Jordy, Drew doesn't look at pictures just to look good on camera. I don't know what that means. A redfish says, ain't nothing wrong with your thoughts, Jordy. When I saw him, even if he's joking, saying he may come back made me cringe. Dude is done. Hayden Parrish, Jordy, just keep it simple. Brees is a boring guy. Donnie T says 5-star hotels, 5-star food. I get you, man. But, waking up alone in a hotel room at Brees' bank account and knowing that, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to be here talking about Jared Goff playing the frickin' Commanders on a Sunday? You know what I mean? I already know Goff blows. You know what I mean? Do I need to tell you all that when he throws it to the other team 3 times a day? Maybe he does, man. I think he'll be great at it. Potentially, he could be the A-team somewhere, and there's so much money in that industry now, everybody's got to be paying attention to it, right? With Amazon bellying up to the table, with the amount of money that you're seeing all these television companies, these cable companies throw around, if you're interested in it, it makes a lot of sense. Pay a couple of years of dues, and next thing you know, you could be staring down the barrel of, 15 to 25 million a year, and you're not even playing. I get it. Tom Brady has 10-year, 365. Romo's making 17 a year. Aikman's making upwards of 17 a year with Monday Night Football. Herb Street and Amazon, they're paying him. I mean, Sean Payton's looking for some of that money. I mean, it's Sean McVay was negotiating against the Super Bowl champs with television money. I mean, it's real. So, if Brees wants in, I see why he would, but I also see why he wouldn't. I see both sides of it. You know what I mean? Like, if Brees makes his mind up, he wants to be a great commentator, he probably will be. If Brees makes a year of commentating and says, you know what, I don't need this stuff. I'm going to hang out with my kids and go sling burgers. Okay. I get that too. John Emery's going to stop by here in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk football with Emery. Looking forward to it, man. John Emery, who I believe is set to have just an explosive senior season and really going to put his name on the map and could be a name that comes off the board very early in the NFL draft. Do you see him?
No, I do not.
We'll take a quick break, come back, we'll reset and be back with you. Remember, our poll question is up. Compliments of our friends over at Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge. Southern Eye Center of Baton Rouge is located on Jefferson Highway. If you mention the Jordy Culotta Show, you receive a discount.
He is here, John and TJ.
Beautiful. TJ, what's up? And John Emery. We'll reset. We'll have LSU running back John Emery in the house. We come back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Ghost Chevrolet. What's up? Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
I remember going to the Tennessee camp.
Oh, this is a great story.
And I had locked everybody up.
Yeah.
Like, literally, I was licking my chops, and I'm like, yo,
Jarvis and Odell were there, right?
Everybody was there. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, all y'all get in line. Like, everybody, come on. I'm going to go
I'm getting back in line.
I'm going to go rep after rep. And then it really kind of turned into a show where none of the DBs wanted to go.
Yeah.
None of the receivers wanted to go. It was literally, then it turned to me and Jarvis.
Right.
Just one-on-one. You know what I mean? So,
whenever Tyrann Mathieu's ready for that challenge, this is something that he's talking about out loud. No.
Yes, he's speaking into
we
existence.
we will talk to him about this afternoon. So I mean, we'll ask him how real this stuff is, but he's just in the way that I know him, and I, like I said, we've got a relationship that's lasted about 10 years from covering, media member to athlete, and we're not good friends by any means, but I feel like I know him a little bit. He's not saying stuff like that without really being serious about it. You know what I mean? If he's thinking that right now, and with the affirmative tone that he is speaking that with, like, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
You
He's
know
not
what I mean?
bluffing.
Really, no. I mean, he's if this is something that he really wants, he'd be great at it. He would be a great coach. He would be a great motivator. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. Do you have questions about your finances? Are you looking for recommendations from a skilled financial advisor? Get in touch with our friend Daniel Newman over at Edward Jones. You can find him easily by logging online and shooting him an email at daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. That is daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. Whether it is help with your 401k or just fiscal advice heading into the new season, get in touch with Daniel today. Best way to do it? Email him, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. He's our experienced financial advisor. Let him be yours, daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. All right, welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet here on this Tuesday. Good to see our guy here in studio after a really impressive spring semester, man, and moreover, for the academic push and everything that has gone on for the last year, I feel like, with John Emery, is set up to have an explosive senior campaign with LSU football, and he is in the studio here with us on this Tuesday morning. My man already navigated through a flat tire this morning, made his way to the studio. We're going to get that nail out of the tire for him today and get him back up and moving. But it's great to see John Emery with us here in studio. How we feeling, John?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. We have been trying to make this happen. I know you've been dealing with school, you've been dealing with spring. Let's start there. How did the semester go for you? How did spring go for you?
Man, actually, this was a great semester for me, as far as for the whole team. You know, I feel like the focus was there for sure, man. You know, I was locked in the whole semester, as far as off the field and on the field. You know, and being able to meet the new staff that we got and some new players, man, that was good too, man. I feel like the energy is great, man, and everybody is focused, and so it's helping me keep focused as well too. So
everybody was talking about your physique when they saw you in spring for the first time, but it looked like you made your mind up before that this is your time, this is your year. It feels like you were very motivated and ready for this season. Can you talk about your mindset going into the year and kind of where that started?
Well, man, I wasn't able to play last year. That took a huge toll on me. So I had to sit back and just really look at the bigger picture, man.
Yeah.
And I said, man, it's time. It's time to really, make that decision and really stay locked in, because time is running out. So, I gotta, I had to flip the switch and really just stay locked in. So, man, every day, I try to get better in whatever I'm doing. Whether it could be working out or school, just being a student of the game. Like, I've been just trying to grow as a player and a person. So, that's really just been the main thing, just maintaining and growing, really,
Absolutely. Pull that microphone a little bit closer to you, Johnny, if you don't mind. Look, you can slide it. Yeah, no, it's all good, all good. That soft-spoken Temptation voice, my man got.
Bad, man.
Bro, he got that bass level to him.
Man. They say I'm smooth, man. They say I'm a smooth criminal.
Yeah, he is.
For sure.
He's smooth in the open field. He looked like in spring, man. Tell me about Frank Wilson. Where did the motivation take the motivation out? The new staff, where did they make the first impact on you? Whether it was Brian Kelly, whether it was Frank Wilson, where did you realize, what, I'm around people that care about me here in my senior year?
Man, how can I put it? So Frank, Coach Wilson, like I said, I've been knowing Coach Frank since I was a kid. Since I was like 7, 8 years old. And so the connection been there with him. And Coach Kelly, man, when he came in, he gave it to me like, man, look, you gotta do your thing, bro. Ain't no plan, I'm not gonna baby you, man, I'm gonna give it to you raw. It's either you go do your thing or you go flunk out. Like, what you wanna do? Like, it's all up to you. This is your destiny. So, it wasn't really like they just really put it all on me, and it was really up to me. You know, I had to do it. You know, handle my business, but you know, it's just everything is real, man.
Yeah.
Within everybody, all the coaches, bro. Like, you know, and that's what I love.
You feel any pressure this year?
Honestly, I don't, bro. Like, you know, at first, coming in, like, before the spring, I would say it was a little pressure, bro, because, like, you know, it's just I had to hold myself accountable. But, like, getting through this spring, you know, I feel like everything is great now. You know, I feel very, you know, relaxed and, like, confident, man. Like,
Yeah. You can feel it.
Yeah,
I mean, you can
bro.
see it when you run, when you're watching you just play out there. How is your health? Where are you at from a health
So
standpoint?
now I'm good. You know, I'm 100%. You know, I had tweaked my ankle a little bit,
Yeah.
my right ankle at the end of spring. But, you know, it was like a little baby ankle sprain. But, you know, I actually played. I was able to play in the spring game. I got like 3 snaps. I could have went more, but,
Yeah.
you know, and
I said it was good to see you out there, knowing that. I mean, you should have probably been on the shelf. Like, you probably shouldn't have played. But I think
for
from
sure.
your standpoint, it was good to see you because people are so excited about you. Do you get the feeling that, I mean, I've done probably 10 radio shows since spring has stopped, and people have asked me for a breakout player or somebody that we're not talking about, that we will be talking about. And every time I tell them you, just because it feels like you're about to kick the door down. Because everything's kind of lined up for you.
And I do feel that, you know, and that's what gives me the confidence. And like I you know, when I hear people, when I'm walking in the streets, people tell me, man, good luck this season. I'm excited to see you play. Like, you know, I get that a lot just from family, friends, you know, everybody, they're excited. So, you know, when I hear that, man, it just gives me a boost of energy. Like, man, this gonna be it. So.
Take me back. What was recruiting like for you?
Man, you know, I got a lot of offers, man. Recruiting was nice, man. I took a lot of visits, you know. You know, typical recruiting process as far as for everybody. You know, I was committed to Georgia.
Right. Well, I remember seeing you come out of the Lawton room with Ogeron and who was the OC at the time? Was it Joe Brady? No, it wasn't Joe Brady.
Was it
it was Steve Ensminger.
Yeah,
it was Steve Ensminger. It was Ogeron and Ensminger. The day that LSU beat Georgia in 2018, they had you coming out that day, and they were trying to flip you that day.
Yep.
Was that the day that you kind of changed your mind?
Yeah, a lot of people ask me that. Man, honestly, like, it was a little bit before that, but after going to that game, I'm like, man, this is where I need to be for sure. Like, you know, that was really like the first time of, you know, me being in, you know, a game like that with that much electricity, for real. You know, that was amazing. But it was a little bit before that while I was thinking about flipping, but during that game, after the game, that's when I was like, wait, I probably made the wrong decision for sure.
What was 2019 like for you? The experience that you got, and then, I mean, I think we all remember the Florida game when Burrow was pissed off at you for missing the pass protection.
Oh yeah.
What was all that? Because I mean, the first game of the year, they're throwing you screen routes, and it looks like you're going to score.
Yeah.
You're going to be a part of the offense, and then kind of what was that experience like? What was the whole 2019 experience like for John Emery?
Man, honestly,
I still remember, get this motherfucker off the field.
Oh man, yeah, that's exact. So that play, it was a screen that I was supposed to catch, man, and Joe wound up running it, and bro, that's exactly what he said. He said, man, get your ass out there, get off the field. So, you know, that was kind of embarrassing, but you know, throughout that whole season, I learned a lot. As far as, you know, playing with all them guys, that was amazing. I ain't gonna lie. You know, to say that I was able to, you know, get like 5 touchdowns, that was pretty cool, man.
Right.
You know, just celebrating, just being with them guys, bro. But that season, you just like, you know what it takes to you know, make it to the championship and be a championship team.
For sure.
With the next, because, you know, it don't get no better like that. That was like, honestly, I feel like that was the best team, you know, in college football.
Absolutely.
That's
Y'all
my
had,
opinion.
Y'all had it all. I mean, y'all,
for sure.
Y'all had it all. The Vanderbilt game, I thought that you put on the show. It was kind of like your coming out party.
2019.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then obviously the Alabama game last year, 2 years ago, where you had, I mean, that was a bunch of 5 stars running after you, and you were pulling away from them. I mean, you looked like an NFL running back that night.
For sure.
Where is your expectation for you? Like, where do you believe you are ready? Because I think everybody's kind of seen you've seen how good you can be consistently. Do you have some questions that you need to answer yourself, like over a 14-game season, to be able to sustain it at that level?
So wait, you basically asking me like?
I mean, you have the confidence in yourself to keep it at that level for 14 games.
I actually do. You know, long as I stay healthy, because that, you know, I remember being hurt. I had to deal with my shoulder throughout the whole season. I was able to play through it. Like, I could play through an injury, but when I'm 100%, man, I have the confidence to, you know, be amazing. I feel, you know.
Yeah, you do.
And like I said, bro, I do believe that, you know, I can perform, you know, at the best of my ability and do well, you know, throughout for the whole season, as long as I'm healthy, you know.
What do you make of the running back room? You guys got good competition, good players, huh?
Nah, yeah, bro, it's really amazing. And you know, my dude Corey just left.
Yeah.
But you know, we still got some competition, and we, you know, we got Noah King coming in. Man, we pushing each other, you know, and with Coach Wilson, Frank Wilson, with him being here, you know, he kind of old school, so he give it to you.
Yeah.
He gonna let you know.
Right.
He ain't gonna beat around the bush.
Yeah, he's a fuck you guy.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Like, so he's helping, like, he's pushing us, and man, like, it's a lot of competition, you know, within the whole room, bro, and we growing every day, you know.
He also, which I think is really cool, brings back the greats. I mean, he's shown on social media. I saw Leonard was in that room. I saw Jeremy Hill was in that room. I've seen Jacob Hester in that room. What are those moments like for you? You're the top dog in that room. To see the big dogs come back, what's that like?
Man, bro, honestly, we all needed that, you know. Every single one of them that came back, Clyde, from Jacob, from, you know, Leonard, like, bro, they all just gave us motivation, you know. Like, when Leonard came in, I think he was like the first back that came back, and you know, he looked at me, he was like, bro, like, come on, get on your shit, it's time, like, and like hearing that from him is like, man, like, I really gotta get to it, like, let's work for real, you know. Like, it was amazing hearing their stories and seeing the process, how, like, what they've been through, and how they came up, and you know, they didn't have it easy as well. So,
Sure.
You know, and they had to go through some adversity. So he just made us feel, you know, that, you know, anything is possible. You know, don't get discouraged if you're going through something. All of them really made us feel like that, and you know, they gave us they really just left us the tools. So
Yeah.
I appreciate Coach Wilson for actually doing that, because we honestly needed that, you know.
What about Tyrann Mathieu? It seemed like when he addressed the entire team, that was like almost a breakthrough moment for you all. And it feels like for Coach Kelly too, like to see just that type of dude and what he means to the room and what he means to the program. For
sure, man. Like, I caught goosebumps listening to him talk. You know, that was great, bro. Like, we was all locked in. I look around in the room, everybody up, like, you know, eyes buckle wide, because, like, that's just the type of guy he is. You know, you had him on the show, like, you know, he let us know, bro, like, what he been through, and like, that was my first time actually seeing him in person, man. He sucker small.
It's unreal.
But
It's
on the-
unreal.
Right.
I mean, he and I stand eye to eye, and I'm like, this cat is the best safety in the league.
Right,
I mean,
exactly. So, like, I'm sure that gave a lot of motivation to people, too.
Right.
Like, come on, man. It don't really matter how small you is, man. Like, it's all about what's, you know, what's in here. So, you know, that was, bro, that helped out a lot. I ain't gonna lie.
What's a point of view for somebody like you on pro day? Like, how do you watch when pro day comes to the indoor and you see all 32 teams and you see Sting jumping 40, running 4.4, knowing that, you know, you're a year away from that moment.
Yes.
What is how do you take that in? How do you see that day?
Man, like, when I went this year, you know, I was a little upset. You know, I felt like I should have been there. But it gave me motivation. Like, honestly, like, you know, knowing that I could perform and really do amazing at the pro day with my skills.
Oh, you'll kill it. You'll kill a test.
Yeah,
I mean, you're gonna kill a test.
Like, I honestly feel like I kill it for sure. I give myself as far as for the 40, I give myself a 4.4, 4.42.
Yeah. Well, you look.
Maybe 4.3.
I mean, you got to be in the best shape of your life right now.
Nah, honestly, yeah, I've been grinding every day. I feel amazing right now.
I mean, you look like in a football uniform. You look different.
Yeah.
You look different than you did 2 years ago.
Nah, for sure. No, yeah, for sure.
Did you have a goal of like I wanted to put on this amount of weight, this amount of muscle, or did you just kind of end up here?
Man, honestly, like, I wanted to gain some weight, bro, but I gained too much weight. I got a little fat.
Did you lose a step?
Nah, I don't feel like I lost a step, but, you know, it was a lot carrying at me. That's the most I weighed ever. It was at one point I was 226.
Damn. Damn.
Oh yeah, I was
all that weight.
Man, I was 226, man. Then I dropped it down like towards the end of spring to like 218. And right now I'm at 215.
Where you want to be, about 210, 215?
Yeah, I want to be in a range of like 210, 212, or 215 really.
What's that new weight staff? Like, what's Jacob Flint and his crew like?
Man, I love them, bro. I love them, man. And they all young guys, and Flint, he got a couple of gray hairs, but they in tune, like they locked in, and they they're very smart and they know their stuff, bro. And it's just they give us more. They're more smart about everything, letting us know like you don't have to work too hard, man. You won't be smart, and they kept a lot of guys healthy.
Yeah.
I feel like with them around, it's like I've learned a lot about my body since they came there. Especially with the nutrition.
Did you ever think about transferring?
It was at one point I did.
Is this pre-transfer portal or is this post-transfer portal?
It's pre, man. This was like before Coach Wilson got here. And, I was like, man, everything just falling apart. That's how I honestly feel. I feel like I needed I needed a brand new start, man. I needed to get away. But, when Coach Wilson came, then I talked to Coach Kelly, and I just felt like, it was best for me to stay, and then I knew like I was gonna, be playing this year for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the offense is about to be built around you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking about. I'm like, you know what? I ain't going nowhere. I ain't gonna be no coward. And I love LSU.
And Louisiana loves you. Do you feel that? I mean,
yeah.
I think your state, they want to see you be good in purple and gold. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
They want to see you shine. Joe Brady said he compares you to a young Alvin Kamara.
Really?
Just the capability that Kamara can run inside, outside. You can throw him the ball, and he's become a better pass protector. He's a 3-down back. Do you look at anybody and try to cherry pick their game, or is there somebody you look at that you say, you know what, I feel like our game is comparable?
Let me see. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I love Alvin Kamara game, bro. Like,
so smooth.
Yeah, bro. And that's what I kind of compared myself to him, or like at least I wanted to kind of be that type of back as far as an all around back, because that's what they looking for, believe it or not. You know, I didn't really, you know, I really never compared myself to nobody. You know, I tried to. Yeah, of course, I watched backs in the league.
Sure.
But you know, and tried to, you know, learn from them. But like, I would say Alvin Kamara. That's one back that I wanted to.
He's got your type of athleticism.
Yeah.
Y'all look so smooth out there. It doesn't look like y'all are running fast, but y'all are pulling away from everybody.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
For real. Like a lot of people say that.
What's NIL been like? Has it been a distraction, or you liked it?
Nah, I actually like it, man.
You got somebody handling it for you? I mean,
yeah, I've been dealing with my boy Martin and Kent, and you know, from BG. Man, you
Kent
know.
Nelson, the group.
Yeah, bro. So I actually, ever since spring started, man, and I'm back now. You know, I've been getting some deals, man. You know, I should get a lot more, but I just gotta perform. You know,
just ball.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
So it haven't been a distraction at all.
What's the off-season plans for you? How are you going to handle the summer? Are you staying in town? Are you going to train with somebody? What's it going to look like?
So, you know, I planned on going train with this guy, man. I actually got to get to know him. He in Dallas. He call him Speedy. But, you know, honestly, I've been out here training, you know. I've been training. I usually train by myself.
Really?
I'm not gonna lie. Because, you know, I usually, and we about to come back early anyway, so it's really like I can't really go out, you know, nowhere for that long anyway, you know. So I love hitting the levee a lot though.
Yeah.
I love hitting that levee, but you know we got to be back on the 23rd. So you know it don't really make no sense for me to really go out nowhere and train. Now I was gonna go to Lafayette. That's why I actually might go Lafayette and go train with my boy Reggie, man. He trained Kevin Falk.
Oh, Reggie Theus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
from across the river.
Yeah, he wanted me to come train with
Absolutely.
him.
Debo.
Yeah.
Look like Debo.
Yeah.
Some light eyes and that light
Yeah,
skin. Yeah. John Emery here. Compliments of our friends over at Crowd Push. Crowd Push is a self-platform, a fan-based platform that can help out with NIL deals. It can help out the entire team, individuals. If you want to help with the LSU football team, you can pledge money to the LSU football team. If you want to help with the LSU gymnastics squad, you can help with the LSU gymnastics squad. You can do that on just about any college campus. Learn more at crowdpush.com. Crowdpush.com.
Yes, sir.
Y'all got a great defense going into the season. At least the front seven looks like y'all going to be stout, man.
Yeah.
What was going up against that defensive line like during spring? What did you learn about that crew? Because it seems like there's a lot of respect for LSU football going into the season, and a lot of that is because of B.J. Ojolari and Jaquelin Roy and Mason Smith and all these cats coming back.
Nah, for sure, man. Like they're stacked. You know, they ball, bro. You know, and they fast. You know, especially BJ.
Yeah.
So you know, with them, they give off the energy for the rest of the players on the defense. You know, I think they're gonna have an amazing season. You know, and they all growing as players, and you can see it, man. You know, just for this spring. You know, and you know what? Like it's. Playing with them, bro, they always talking smack, bro.
I bet.
You know, like they talk the most smack on the defense.
Who talks the most noise on the team?
On the team, all right, Jay Ward.
Wow.
Talk a lot of shit.
Damn, he was quiet in here too, man. It's usually the quiet ones you got to watch out for.
Yeah, nah, for sure. Jay Ward, like he
came up and popped you a little in that spring game.
Man, that dude, right. That dude will really aggravate you. Like he really, bro, he get on my nerve, bro, on the field.
I like that.
That's my dude, bro.
I love that. Who's the best shit talker you've ever run across?
Oh Lord, let me think.
Do you talk shit?
A little bit, man. Not really, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like the ball.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't really talk too much smack, bro. But I would say, like, probably I'm trying to think.
I heard Burrow was the...
Yeah, he'll give it to you.
He's a killer.
Yeah, he'll give it to you. Like, and you like the PQ story.
The Patrick Queen one, yeah.
Yeah, like when he talks smack, it's like, whoa, like who you talking to, bro? Like he'll give it to you, bro. You wouldn't even expect it, like because he'll be quiet most of the time. As soon as he say something, it's like, whoa, what? Like, yeah, bro. But nah, yeah, Joe a savage,
Dude,
dog.
bro. That dude, man.
Joe is a savage. He ain't take nothing from nobody.
Proud of you, bro. Expecting big things. I know you are of yourself too. Tell the crew out there. I know you killed your academics this past semester too, man. How was your grades?
Man, it was good, man. I got it was an A. I got a C. I took like 5 classes, yeah. Then I got another C minus. So that was.
And an E, eligible.
Right. That's all that matters.
That's
right,
it, baby.
Yeah.
Have a great off season. Come back and see us, man.
Nah, for sure, man. I love what you're doing there, bro.
Appreciate you.
You know, everybody is tuning in. You know, we always look forward when you have somebody on the show.
Appreciate it.
And I love it, man. Appreciate you having me on the show, dog.
Yes, indeed, man.
For sure, man.
That is New Orleans' finest
Yes,
from Destrehan, John Emery. The man there going into his senior season, money year for John Emery. He knows it. He feels it. He's ready to go.
Sir.
We will all be watching. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you daily by Morales Roll-Offs. Morales Roll-Offs provides dumpster rentals for residential and commercial needs in Baton Rouge and surrounding areas. Morales has roll-off dumpsters ranging from 10 yards to 40 yards to accommodate all of your disposal needs. Search online, moralesrolloffs.com.
Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more. True Blue Water. True hydration at its finest. Right now, you're only a few minutes away from getting your 5-gallon water delivered to you, just like we are over here at the UDL. All you got to do is log on to truebluewater.com. That's TRU, bluewater.com. The website's fantastic over at truebluewater.com. You can get your service and find out how quick it is. You can schedule a delivery, even hop on the billing system right there at truebluewater.com. TRU, bluewater.com. Papa Earl's, the fine spice, originating right down here in South Louisiana by our guy Mark Pop Norman. Developed it back in 2018 and won Amazon's Newcomer of the Year in 2019. They pride themselves in having 30% less salt and sodium than the leading brands at the same price point. You can find them locally. Look for Papa Earl's at Rouse's, Calandro's, Mathern's, High Neighbor, and more.
Hey y'all, it's Mikey from Mic'd Up. Catch us live every Monday and Wednesday, 11 to 1. Talk gambling, talk sports, have a ton of guests in here, get a little perspective from the athlete side of it. We got Lloyd in the house, Jay Mitch is in here a lot of the time. It's a fun show, great show. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you don't like it, it's fine. Make fun of us, it's okay. Just get us out there, share us out there. We having fun, we want to share our fun with you. Like I said, Mic'd Up, brought to you by Sterling Automotive. Every Monday through Wednesday, 11 to 1. Catch us live on YouTube, baby. See y'all.
Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. All right, real quick in and out here for us as we close out Tuesday's show. Appreciate John Emery for stopping in studio. Make sure you check out that interview. Compliments of our friends over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois and his crew over at RMB, bringing back all of our sound. Great to talk to Emery, man. You can see from the feedback inside of the chat and on the and inside of YouTube and on Twitter, a lot of you looking forward to seeing Emery bust out here in his senior year. From a mindset standpoint, Cat's ready to go, bro. It's easy to pull for John going into this season, as it looks like he's about to bust out. That interview is brought to you by Crowd Push. Make sure you check out Crowd Push online at crowdpush.com. crowdpush.com to learn more about how you, the fan, can help out individual teams and players as far as name, image, and likeness is concerned. Thanks to John Emery and the crew for stopping by today. For Stewie, for Noah, for Jamil, and for TJ, who just popped back in and helped us here this morning. Getting back over in studio. We're back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Make sure you hit that like button, share button, comment button. We'll be back with you here on the Jordy Culotta Show over at FM Digital Media. Have a great day.